Alrighty guys, so we got a little bonus Drytron deck profile. Been meaning to do it, so we're going to add to these next 5 days of 5 videos with a bonus video. And in this one we're talking about Drytron. I go second version that I really like. And first we're going to talk about some text that I also have been considering adding to this deck list. And that is Trap Tricks, Genzo Layered, and Boral Riot Dragon. Genzo Layered, I haven't broken out of the seal. I haven't actually used it in real life yet. It's just that this deck basically revolves around using some Ben 10s and some Natashas to really steal your opponent's monsters, and I'm playing Ida 10, so shout out to her. And then adding this to that with 2 level 6s being overlaid, maybe a Ben 10 and a Diviner into a layered, and then steal another monster, and then ritual something back, and it's a machine. It can be used, you know, it's a strong tech card. That's why I'm talking about that. Riot Dragon, just because if you're playing Lancia the way that I am in this list, if you were actually copying this list, it's a good monster to end on. However, you can just end on big Draconids and then hit them with the Draconids first and then Lancia them. But if you don't want them to draw, if you don't want them to add off prosperity or something, then just end on something else. End on an Exceed or something, a Beatrice or something. Protect yourself with an IP, who knows. But Borlo's Riot Dragon is also a good choice. And then Trap Trick, because I'm playing Imperms and I'm playing Evenlies and I'm playing another trap card that I always talk about. You should play if you have a Wing Beast in your extra deck and you can get stopped easily, or you just want to end on that card because you drew it. These are just strong tech cards that you have to consider getting into the profile, because I've talked enough on those. Drytron, that was a little bit of a tech video, I guess, before the actual video. Drytron Alpha Thubin, you know what he does. Searching rituals, though, if you don't. Grabbing them back from the graveyard by tributing either a Drytron or a ritual monster, in case you have forgotten that or been under a rock. Delta draws cards. Again, you can cut 2 of these and then probably not play this one that I'm playing, and play 3 prosperity if you love prosperity like that. And it is a lovely thing to draw your side deck cards a lot more, but you just don't need it in this deck. But I'm just playing it that way with 3 Delta, just like drawing. Either way, you got to draw. You can also play Upstart as one of them too. That's also something I've been seeing lately. Drytron Zeta is really just the one that grabs the ritual spell. You got to play them because you got to see a ritual spell. And Beta is how you play around Shifter, Crow, Bestials, and stuff like that by putting the Drytron that they may have banished in some kind of way back into the graveyard. Even Castir has been doing that. So, you know, there's a lot of decks that are banishing. I don't know if you can actually target the face down. I may be incorrect on that. But bottom line, it's a good card to have, because people are going to banish your Drytrons. You got to deal with Shifter and Dweller and Bestials already. Crow has also been popping up in lists. You got to play this card. It's not even a question in my opinion, but you know, we don't all agree. Drytron, Draconids, just because it's just a big body, and I have an OTK in this deck. Not if you Dark Ruler, which I'm playing, but if you basically, and I'll be talking about the fairies in a second, basically, if you have a lot of Drytrons in your rotation, so all of those names that you just saw, and you have Ida 10, and you can continue to tribute to add ritual monsters 1,000 attack each time that you do that. If you like have this on your field already because it's been passed back to you, or you just want to loop this over and over again, basically with the ritual spell, which you know that I play 1 of because I don't agree with 2, you can keep kicking this back into your hand and loop every single name, and then keep going. Tribute, so Alpha Thubin, you know, going through each name. Tribute plus 1,000 when it leaves. You ritual summon it back, this goes back to your hand. So it's a loop. So that's what I mean by a loop. Whenever I explain that, people have always asked me what I mean. That's what I mean. Anyways, and getting back into the order of it, just the big body dude. He's ultimate conductor. He pops stuff. And he's just really good. If you hit him with a droplet, he can be game. You just have to summon him correctly. And again, if you don't actually remember that, you can see the card text for yourself. Shout out to the Collector's Rare. Moving on into the rituals, I am playing a variant that I feel like is really crossing your fingers that you don't get Natasha banished, but I always feel like they go after the Drytron names first. So you know, unless they're really patient and they have a really strong deck that's also playing Bystials, it's just a rough time, you know. You're gonna have to just deal with not having Natasha anymore and change your game win con, I guess. But triple Ben 10, because why would you not play 3 Ben 10? Because Ben 10 is at 3 and it shouldn't be, but it is. Cyber Angel Ida 10 is something that not everybody plays. However, with that little loop that I just mentioned, as well as just having little weird plays where you can overlay into a Beatrice in many different ways with a Diviner and an Ida 10, and then have the ritual spell back in your hand anyway. It's just a free body a lot of the times. Free body, free attack points. It's not necessary in a go first version because it's just like an extra body on the field for more stuff, and you only play that in like Megalith, and even then you don't need it because you have enough bodies in and of itself. But this card is cool going second because it's pressure. And speaking of pressure, you got Cyber Angel Natasha, which is basically why you're playing so many. And playing this is cool because then you have 4 Change Your Hearts. And to me, that's silly. I Dark Ruler somebody's board. I think it was an online tournament. It was one of the Dragon Rider or something. It was one of them. I ended up getting second in that one, lost in the finals on that one. But in the first game, I hit him with a droplet, and then I just remember, no, I Dark Rulered him, and then I literally like went through every name because I opened like 2 Ben 10, and then I literally like stole everything. Like I took his Rukalos, I took his Baron, I took something else, and then I ended on my Drytron stuff. So it was ridiculous, and these are ridiculous, and it's the extra package. Like, it's crazy. You can't play Change Your Heart and like mind control and just keep taking people's stuff. You know, you can really go into it, but I wouldn't do all that because you have to play better defensive cards. Speaking of that, you have defensive card like Herald of Orange Light. You have other defensive cards like Artifact Lancey, which I'm playing 2 of because my locals is full of people that are banishing, and every time I play online, people are using decks that are banishing. I play a lot of Flu, so it's like boom, you take them out of the game. You usually want to play 1, but like I'm not playing Ruler. And the Fairy Search could be Ruler because you can go second, push through somebody's board, steal their stuff, tribute for Vanity's Ruler. But everybody is playing Dark Ruler, and I feel like this is a good answer to like a Dark Ruler type thing with some decks, because like Fluanderies, they're like Dark Ruler you, and I'm like, all right, if I Lancey you already, you're not gonna draw with Prosperity, you're not gonna draw at Extravagance that they might play. I'll be okay through a Shifter if something happened on their turn. You know, it's good to play 2 Lancey. That's just my opinion. The Diviner is so smooth, man, and I really like not playing the Vanity's Ruler in this version because it allows you to just freely normal summon this, and you get to have an extra name. I feel like play 2 because you have an extra fairy name for the Herald, for food for Herald in case you need it. And you also can have like an extra Lancia. If you're playing a deck that like doesn't lose the Lancia, like they're like Sheeran, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna lead the Lancia. Well, you got the Orange Light and Artifact Lancia or something. You know, it's just weird stuff like that. But Diviner is just absolutely amazing. It takes you into Exceed plays. You can play Baron. I'm not playing it in this version because I'm not playing Scythe. I played it only in the Megalith version really because that's the most extraordinary way to use Megalith. And their Scythe stuff and the Scythe setup. And I also have a ritual additional thing with that Dynamond ritual Link monster crazy ass card that is running across your screen. That card is absolutely nutty. But yeah, double Diviner. I really feel like I have to talk in depth a little bit because I want to explain why I'm playing some of this, because it's really hard to play a deck like this right now. And you have to have a little bit of patience and getting your ass kicked in a couple tournaments until you can figure it out. In perms, this format, Yu-Gi-Oh sucks right now, but you know, we still play Yu-Gi-Oh because Yu-Gi-Oh. In perms, because you have to deal with Dweller. It's really because of Dweller. You have to deal with Dweller. It's public enemy number 1 to this deck because like Shifter, I have a contingency plan. There's no contingency plan if you don't draw Imperm or you don't draw Droplet. You don't have a contingency plan, so you have to. So that's why I'm playing them. I feel like it's pretty simple. I feel like it's straightforward, and I feel like you have to pick between either stopping getting your stuff banished or stopping effects like Dweller, and Dweller is a bigger problem. Just my opinion. And it's good to draw an Imperm going second. I almost said 6. Drytron Nova, I'm playing 3. I always play 3. The redundancy factor I cut down on emergency to 2. You can't play 3 just because if you want to draw you can search the big ritual. In case you didn't know that, you can do that because you can a light machine, just in case you didn't know. A lot of people didn't know that, so I mentioned it. Drytron, the field spell, Fafnir. The level thing still comes up occasionally against Sprite, but I play a lot of Sprite online and not a lot in real life. Like, our locals has really, like, shout out to Bruce. He's a KC player, just top aided the St. Louis regional. Like, there's amazing Sprite players in our locals, but there's not that many of them. And when this card comes up against them, it wins the game every single time, and they have to deal with it. And they usually try to get rid of it pretty quickly, which I'm not mad at them for it, because you have to. Because if you have a Drytron card on your side of the field, you drop their level, and it's like Mischief of the Yokai or Gnomes or whatever, where it messes with their levels, which is a screwball thing for them. Double Dark Ruler for 2 ofs to round that out, by the way. I'm really working on just stopping effects, and this doesn't stop Dweller, but it still stops a hell of a lot of other stuff, and it's just a good, strong card to have, and these are better than Dark Holes and Red Gekis right now for this deck, at least. Talents, Harpy's Feather Duster, and 1 ritual spell, which is shout out to Collector's Rare, my favorite card in the game. Just, man, the ritual spell is such a dope card. But yeah, I think that's 41, just a smooth number. I always play 41, and I don't like getting locked to the 40 unless I know that something is just a crazy deck. It's overwhelming, but that deck is I'm really competing back and forth because I have to interact, because these other decks are really strong. Triple Dogwood, because you got to cheap shot people in time. That's just real life stuff. Online, you can change that to sphere mode or something. Any lightning storms, anything, whatever. Triple Lava Golems. You got to tribute over 2, and you don't need your normal, so sometimes I'll take Diviners out and just hope for the best, and Tasha steal the Lava Golem back and kill him with it anyway, stuff like that. Evenlease, self-explanatory, but wiping people. It's strong against Casteer, which is popping up a lot, and again, I got Casteer stuff coming down the pipe, so be ready for it. Shout out to that. Harpies, Feather Storm, because why not? If you get stopped by a shifter, you can end on that in a game 2 or a game 3. You can end on that in the Lyra Lusk, which is right here. And when you do that, they lose right back, and then they're frustrated. And oh, that's bull. Yeah. Like, shifter's not bull, But shout out to shifter, because I use it too. I ain't mad at you. Herald of Green Light. Anybody that's playing tier, you should be playing this card too. I don't know why you wouldn't be. Just because spells are strong still. It doesn't stop Dark Ruler, obviously, but it stops everything else. Field spells, I've stopped a lot of tier field spells with this card, and it's a little bit of a stun, so that's why I'm siding it. You can main it, but I'm not playing Ishizu Drytron. It's not good enough for me, but it is a very strong version. And then double Twin Twister, because Fluanderies, you gotta take out that trap card in a smooth fashion. Rounding out the deck list is the extra deck where you're playing Beatrice. This can be Borreload. I'm playing her because she's so good. It's so, and stealing with IP, which I end on a lot of the time, as well as going into Bow Goddess off of that as well. I really like, or I go into a Unicorn to take out stuff like Casteer Birth. The spell is usually what I take out a lot of. Rounding out the Link 2s, I got Nightmare Phoenix to pop the spells and traps. IP Masquerena is usually what I end on almost every single time. Because I'm trying to steal people's stuff, I'm playing Relinquish Anima. People forget about it, and they put them right in front of the extra Monster Dawn, and I say I appreciate you, because one Drytron name, and boom, I start doing a lot of damage a lot quicker than I did. And so if I Dark Ruler, Droplet you, hope not, or if you stop Baron or something, just punching over stuff, taking their monster's attack value, punching through stuff, or just linking off after that. It's just cool to punch through boards with. Link Haribo, getting into the Exceeds a little bit back. Obviously, you got to play this card just because of the Wing Beast thing that I mentioned, but she's just better than Fucho, and she's protective when you get shifted downer, just because of the extra food for the Zeus that you'll obviously play. Mubeta Fafnir, because you got to play 2, and when Casteer really takes off, you'll have to play 3. I'm telling you, you got to play 3 ahead of time. Zeus, you'll probably have to do the same thing, and then the names for the Diviners. And with that, guys, that's the bonus video. Have a good one. Arrivederci. Pegasus out.